Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for liking, sharing our content and subscribing to the channel and helping this channel grow. And this channel can only grow because of you guys. And actually don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed just yet, and share our content with the people that you think this content would be valuable for them to get. And yeah, let's get into the topic of today's video. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing an interesting topic. We're going to be talking about the difference between investing in an apartment house or versus a student accommodation house. And this is just going to be a simple video highlighting the pros and cons of both type of investments. And you as an investor, you're going to choose which one is fit for you. And I want you at the end of this video to actually comment below with some of the pros or cons that we might have left out in this video, with some of the pros or cons that you think should be featured or should be considered by other investors who are looking to invest in real estate, either in apartments or in student accommodation. Okay, so let's talk about the pros of you investing in an apartment. An apartment can be anything from a bachelor flat, 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom or 3-bedroom. I don't think there's 3 bedrooms anymore, or they don't make too many of them anymore, but let's just say you were a lucky person to find one of those buildings that still have a 3-bedroom house in there. Johannesburg CBD, can it be Windsor, can it be anywhere you find it suitable for you, that is bringing some cash flow in at the end of the day, because remember, we only invest for cash flow and capital gains are a bonus. So yeah, let's get into details on some of the pros of investing in an apartment. First of all, we're going to talk about the price. The price is a little bit cheaper in comparison or in relation to a multi-let or student accommodation house. So it's good for your entry level on getting your feet wet as an investor. And also another thing is it's easy to exit, you know what I mean? If you bought an apartment for 200,000, 400,000, you can easily sell it to your tenant, as an exit strategy. And also it doesn't stay for market for that long, because there's always people looking for entry-level deals, to increase their property portfolio as much as they can. Another thing is that the risk is quite minimal. You have 2 tenants, you have or maybe 1 tenant in your apartment. And you don't have to be worried about having multiple people who are breaking the property down or doing anything that you can't be able to control. Or worried about a big maintenance block, like a blockage of a drain in the yard, where you have to fix all the drainage system in the yard, or things like that. You know what I mean? So that's what makes your risk very minimal when you're investing in an apartment. And then also you have a body corporate as well, the people who handle the building maintenance, they help build the gardens, they're handling most of the things that are happening on the property on the outside, and you're only responsible for the inside, as what sectional title is all about. You're only responsible for what you bought inside that apartment, not the whole building. So those are some of the pros that when you're buying an apartment you might consider, and you might think is a much better a thing to buy or to start with as an investor in comparison to a multi-let or student accommodation house. Okay, let's talk about some cons of buying an apartment. Some disadvantages of buying an apartment might be that the prices drop much faster in a down market in relation to a house. And obviously there might be things like special levies, especially if your building has an elevator or needs a lot of maintenance, and the body corporate will never have to go broke according to some laws. So that means that they should always be charging special levies. Maybe they made a loan from companies like Trafalgar, or maybe they made a loan from all the other companies to be able to maintain the building, and then they're going to be charging you guys that as a special levy, and that means that it's going to reduce your cash flow because it increases your expenses as an investor. Okay, and then another disadvantage might be that you're building, you have to be sure that the banks can finance the building that you're buying in. You know what I mean? Some buildings are not financed by the banks, and if you have a bad building, then you might have a little bit of a problem getting finance, unless if you're a cash buyer. Okay, so another thing is that you're looking at a moderate cash flow. There's not a lot of apartments where you can find quite huge cash flow, unless if you bought a block of flats, or maybe you bought 6 apartments, all at once, or maybe, I don't know, or something like that. But if you bought, just one apartment or two apartments, your cash flow is going to be moderate in comparison to somebody who owns a student accommodation housing. And then the last thing that I want you to also consider is that the body corporate always determines, your destiny, man, and the success of your investments. Meaning that if they manage the building poorly and you don't have the right people on the board, your building can go down and start deteriorating, and then you lose some value in the building. And also the tenants are not coming in, and also the prices of your apartments can start selling at a lesser price than usual. And that's how the story goes. So that means that you must do a little bit of a digging in terms of your body corporate, and as the part of your investment being a success when you're buying in an apartment. So now let's discuss some pros and cons of buying a student accommodation house. I wanted to say multi-let, but I just want to focus on a student accommodation house instead of a multi-let, because I do have a lot of experience more in student accommodation housing personally. So let's start with the pros. The advantages or pros of buying a student accommodation house, we all know the cash flow is good. The cash flow is good. You have multiple tenants. If one tenant leaves, then you're still paying your bond, you're still paying your expenses. You're not worried too much about taking money out of your pocket and your asset turning into a liability by just one tenant moving out and you're having a vacancy problem. And then another thing is that if your student is NSFAS accredited, or if you get it accredited with the university, your cash flow can increase massively. You know what I mean? Which is another advantage. And also, NSFAS pays per head. So price per head, meaning that if you have a nice, 14 square meter room, then you can put in 2 beds, and you're increasing your cash flow overall in the room, and that's how you make your money there. And also another thing is that there's nothing like special levies that are going to be charged on the building. Also, the prices don't change as fast as they do on apartments, because usually it's a freeholding house or freestanding house, so the prices don't change as fast as they do with apartments. So that's another advantage there for you. Let's talk about some disadvantages or cons of investing in a student accommodation house. Number one would be high maintenance. So this is because usually students like your place because their parents have to like it. But after their parents leave and they get comfortable, let's be realistic, they don't care about your place, They care enough that they want to bring their friends, at least if you have a TV, in the lounge, and you have, some play area where they can be able to play and, can relax there. But, as the year goes by, it becomes a chilling spot, just start smoking and doing whatever they do there. So let's just say the value of your property is much more likely to be deteriorating over time, and you're going to have some high maintenance value, and you're going to be doing a lot of maintenance work on the property, especially if you don't have a caretaker on site or somebody who's overseeing, the property when you're not around, or if you're not a hands-on type of a person. A lot of management companies are actually not even hands-on like that, and they don't even like student accommodation. So that's another thing that increases your maintenance as a student accommodation owner, because if you don't have a right caretaker who's very, very hands-on, or you're not hands-on yourself, then you're going to have a problem, because your doors are going to get broken, things in the kitchen, a lot of other things are going to be broken in the house, and you're going to be needing to fix it each year at the end of the year, doing some painting work, doing a lot of other things to make sure that it's in good standing. So be prepared for high maintenance. So another thing is the high price. So let's just say in Johannesburg, for example, so far it's not so easy to get student accommodation less than R1 million, especially a house. If you can get one that's a distressed property, you have to fix up, you have to install a lot of other things, and then basically create some value into that. Or else find it in an unpopular spot, or unpopular place where not everybody is investing in, or very saturated. And if you're looking for places like that, we're happy to assist you on that. Just get in touch, and then we can be able to help you find a student accommodation house less than R1 million. Otherwise, let's move to point number 3, high down payment. Your transfer fees, all the buying costs are going to be quite high, because obviously your property is more than R1 million at most. So you must be prepared for a high down payment. And also, it's not easy to exit, because you sell into a niche market of investors or people who are actually looking to take the risk of running a student accommodation house. So you're not selling to everybody who's looking for a home. You're not selling to a new couple who's moving in the area. You're selling it directly to somebody who's also having the same appetite as you as an investor and getting into student accommodation housing. So that's why exiting a student accommodation house is not as easy as it is for a small apartment or for a normal home, because it can be, very, very, strict in terms of the criteria of the buyer you can get for that. And that's why a lot of them stay on the market for a while, unless if you get a good buyer who's willing to take the risk and, willing to get their hands and dirty in the student accommodation housing. Okay, the last disadvantage is that this product, I call it product because this is what I do on a daily basis. My active income is actually coming from sales from all these investment opportunities. So I call them products. So this product is actually good for advanced investors. You know what I mean? If you're not an advanced investor, you're not willing to, budget your things properly. You're not willing to have a right system in place. You don't have the knowledge about, a multi-let. You don't have the knowledge about getting your property accredited. You don't have the knowledge about, advertising, dealing with students, dealing with management, dealing with a lot of stuff. It might be a little bit too much for you to start with. So it's very, very good for people who are a little bit more advanced on investing, and also they're willing to take the risk, and they must have the risk appetite, of course, to be handling this sort of an investment and make sure that it's successful at the end of the day. So, and lastly, which one of the asset classes would you advise somebody who's looking to get started in investing in real estate to start with? Please comment below with your ideas, suggestions and comments, and anything that I have missed or anything else you want to say. And thank you very much for supporting our channel. We're looking forward to seeing you on the next video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with whoever has to see it, who might find it valuable.